personal transparency that you have with your constituents into other bills to get more general transparency in these government departments where, they're doing whatever they want to us. We still have no idea what they're doing.
Yeah, we're looking into a variety of bills now. We're just one office, and believe it or not, congressional offices don't have that many staff. I have basically 3-4 people at most who actually look at legislation, who can work on this stuff. And when you are operating an office like mine, spending so much time on policy, understanding every single bill, you can imagine we spend, 5-10 times as much time on policy as a typical office, because we're actually reviewing the pieces of legislation, understanding them, which actually eats into my time to introduce new legislation. There are some people who introduce all sorts of bills. I don't think that's particularly effective, actually. I think it's better to focus on a few things, and I focused on my balanced budget amendment to the Constitution this past term, and I'm going to continue to focus on that and push that bill. I focused a lot of time and energy on the NDAA. I mean, that took up fighting that, and even though we lost that battle, we made huge gains in the public. We put it on the map. Me in the House and Rand in the Senate, we really put this on the map so that people could discuss it and debate it, and so it could become a part of mainstream conservative thinking. We're working on transparency bills right now, but the bills that I'm focused on at this time are legislative process transparency bills, making sure that people have time to read the bills. Right now, under our rules, someone can introduce a bill that they say that they have a 3-day rule. Well, someone can introduce a bill on Tuesday night, really late at night, and the bill can be taken up on Thursday morning, and they call that 3 days. You can take it up at 12:01 a.m. on Thursday, they call that 3 days, even though it's a little more than 24 hours. And there's also a huge loophole to the 3-day rule, the current 3-day rule. You can introduce a bill and take it up 24 hours plus a little bit later, but you can also, they can substitute in a new bill at the last second, and that complies with the 3-day rule. So they could give you the full 72 hours even, and then the bill comes to the floor, and they just swap out a new bill for the old bill. It just has to have the same bill number. And they say, well, you had it for 72 hours to read. Well, no, you didn't. It's a totally different bill. They could take they could put a bill in other words, they could introduce a bill that just says, hello, how are you doing? And then 3 days later, substitute in a 3,000-page bill, and they say, well, you had it for 72 hours, and vote. You have to vote on it right away. So that's a huge loophole, and we're trying to stop that. One of the bills I'm working on would say that anytime you change anything in the bill, even a comma, you have to start the time over. That's just one of the things I've looked at. One of the things we've looked at, kind of kiddingly, is a bill that would require that we record the time that someone votes in the record, because some people wait till the last minute to vote on something, so they can see whether it's going to pass or fail. And it would be interesting to have it be required that when someone votes, the time that they record is also the time that they vote is also recorded, because you might see a pattern eventually of some people who wait till the last second or wait to see if something passes before they vote on it. But I'm not sure that would actually go anywhere, a bill like that.
Do your colleagues ever complain that you're making them look bad?
From time to time, of course, I get pushback from some colleagues, and other colleagues are happy about it. There are a lot of people who come to me and say, I admire what you're doing, and some of them say, I wish I could do what you're doing. But it's if you take the path I'm taking, it's a lot of work, and You know, it's not easy for some of them who've been doing things a totally different way to operate the way I do, especially when it comes to fundraising. I don't raise money from PACs, not because I don't accept PAC money, but PACs don't send me money. And PACs don't send me money because of how I operate. I raise the least money from PACs of any member of Congress. The quarter before last, and we haven't done the calculations, but I assume this last quarter I was also the lowest in Congress. And just because they don't send me any money. You know, I think Young Americans for Liberty PAC sent me probably the most. And if other members are going to do what I'm going to do, then they have to accept a world where they don't raise money from PACs. And for a lot of them, that's the end of their careers. Like if you look at my last quarter, I raised almost nothing from PACs, but then I raised the most from individuals of anyone in the Michigan delegation. And that includes, we have committee chairmen in our delegation, the chairman of Ways and Means, the chairman of Energy and Commerce, and I outraised them from individuals. So to do that, though, you've got to work really, really hard on explaining yourself, on being open with your constituents about things, and you've got to basically move away from the whole PAC idea, and for most of them, that's just not possible.
Well, thank you for answering my question, Congressman Amash, and it's truly an inspiration and an honor to finally meet you. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, Congressman Amash. You are now absolutely an inspiration to me, especially to me, and also to these young activists for liberty. Now, I understand that as a republic, we've been going through, with war, with healthcare, in regards to Obamacare, for that matter, and also, with immigration. But we never paid attention to education. My question is, do you think in the House of Representatives, or even in the Senate for that matter, or in your career, think there should be a repeal of the No Child Left Behind Act?
I really saw that one coming. Yes, of course, yes.
Well, at least that answers my question. But seriously though, Congressman, thank you very much, and I will hopefully, probably once I'm eligible to run for the presidency, I will hope to see that thing happen.
In fact, when I was in the Michigan legislature, I was the only rep in either party to vote against all of Race to the Top. So I'm with you.
Hi, Congressman. Thank you so much for your time. Earlier this year, you spoke out strongly in opposition to the Stop Online Piracy Act, bill which led to one of the biggest days in the internet protest in recent memory. Just recently, Lamar Smith has actually introduced a new bill called the IPAA, which could hold another bill which could hold implications for internet censorship. So, even though here, we've seen a lot of enthusiasm for education reform, many have suggested that the cause for a free, unregulated internet is going to be the next big issue. To bring a lot of attention, a lot of new faces to the liberty movement. So my question is, what are some specific things that we can do with that particular issue to sort of introduce people to the whole message of liberty who might not be quite as familiar with it?
What are we going to do with
the issue of a free, unregulated internet? How we can use that to bring new people to the liberty movement?
Well, I think the internet is where the liberty movement is really thriving. I mean, it's young people on the internet who are really driving the liberty movement. So there's already a natural constituency right there. When you have issues like SOFA and HIPAA and I don't know, IPA, what's the new one?
CISPA.
Do they call the new one IPA?
No. It's CISPA.
I know what CISPA is.
The new Lamar Smith bill is the IPAA.
Yeah. Do they call it IPA? I don't know. I'm going to call it IPA. When you have these bills, it's easy to rally support against them because the people who are part of the liberty movement are also the people most affected by these bills. So I think that's why the fight against SOPA was so effective, because you had just a natural coalition there. And I think going forward, that coalition has to be built up and become stronger, but it's gonna thrive there and stay there. When you get off the internet, some of the older generation, for example, don't understand why SOPA is such a bad thing. And I've talked to a number of them. They don't really follow what SOPA is or why it's a bad thing. I'm not sure you're going to reach them the same way you reach people, on the internet, people who are already there. So we'll continue to grow this movement, but I think the natural constituency is already there on the internet. I don't think you need to do that much to reach out to them. They're there.
Thank you very much. Actually, if I could just have a quick follow-up question.
Sure.
I'm not sure if you're familiar with the term slacktivism. Do you think that if you are, do you think that might become a problem or a barrier for real activism?
Slacktivism?
Yes, slacktivism is sort of like when people say, there, I changed the world. Or like, oh, I updated my status. Yeah, I saved America, basically.
That's a good point.
I don't know.
Sort of a curveball.
I mean, every little bit makes a difference. And so I understand where you're coming from with that, but every status message makes a difference. Every time someone does something, even if it seems insignificant, it makes a difference. Even clicking like on a Facebook page can make a difference. It's not. I think people shouldn't diminish those small individual actions. They start to add up.
Thank you very much.
Yeah.
Hi, Dr. How are you doing?
Good.
Thanks for being here. My name is Nick Murray, and I'm from New Hampshire, and I'm actually working to help my friend build his campaign for State House up in Maine. He's vowed to do the same thing that you have done with your bills and expressing them on social media. And I was just wondering how our first lecture today, Mike Goff will explain that when you first start to get into this thing, you try to change the system from within, you hear a lot of different things from people in the establishment. We don't do that sort of thing here. You're hurting the party, you're going to make it even worse for yourself. What did you encounter in the Michigan State House or in the House of Representatives of that same ilk, and how did you get past that? How did you come to where we are? I mean, obviously you have some allies right now today too, but
Do you mean once I was already in or before?
Right. Trying to get in there and try to change some things, and you hear from the establishment that that's not going to fly. How did you get by that?
Well, you have to some extent, you have to ignore the establishment. I mean, it's they're always going to say establishment-y things. For a lot of people, in the establishment, what it means is that they crave power. That's what being in the establishment is. And often, once they get that power, they basically set aside critical thinking. And so, I think that as this movement grows, as you get more and more support, the establishment actually starts to change its tune a little bit about people like me. I think that